Hello everybody, it's me, the Mind Injector. In this video I am going to talk about gas prices. Why are they still going up? Drivers in 2022 face an increasingly painful experience every time they fill up their gas tanks. So let's explore some of the drivers behind higher gas prices, then delve into whether there's any relief in store for consumers at the pump. First one is the pandemic, who crushed oil demand and then crushed oil production. There are several reasons why Americans are facing rising gas prices. First, blame the pandemic, which threw oil markets severely out of whack 2 years ago. They still haven't fully recovered from the damage it inflicted. When the pandemic first hit, it put a deep dent in global oil demand, as many normal activities shut down and millions of people who usually drive to work stayed home. As a result, crude oil prices plunged. And, with oil demand so weak due to the pandemic restrictions, places to store unwanted crude filled up, and traders in oil futures scrambled to unload their positions in crude. Eventually, some had to pay buyers to take future oil deliveries off their hands. Also, negative prices didn't last long, but oil stayed very cheap for much of 2020. That led energy companies and major oil exporting countries to slash their production because no one wanted to give away barrels of oil at such rock bottom prices. Since then, the world has slowly gotten through the pandemic, and oil demand has come roaring back, especially in the US. Unsurprisingly, consumers who missed out on travel and other normal activities in 2020 and 2021 are making up for lost time now. US oil demand is about back to where it was before the pandemic. But oil production takes a lot longer to restart than oil consumption. But that's not the only reason gas prices are going up. Situation in Ukraine threatening Russian oil exports is one of them. That mismatch between supply and demand helped push oil higher throughout 2021. Then, they got another major boost early in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine. Among oil production nations, Russia ranks behind only the US and Saudi Arabia, supplying roughly 10% of the world's oil needs. Also, Western sanctions have cut off some of that supply. More sanctions targeting Moscow's oil sales may be coming, and many Western energy companies are voluntarily shunning Russian oil. All this has sent crude oil prices above $100 per barrel, which in turn pushed the average price of regular gas well above $4 per gallon this spring. Another reason is the US, who is trying to move away from oil. President Joe Biden came into office vowing to transition the US economy away from fossil fuels, with a goal of halving emissions from energy use by 2030 and making the US carbon neutral by 2050. It's the administration who has continued to approve permits to drill for oil on federal lands. But it has also tried to cut back on where energy companies can drill for oil in the future. Plus, it famously nixed the disputed Keystone XL pipeline, which would have carried more than 800,000 barrels per day of Canadian crude to US refineries. That oil can still cross the border, but it'll have to come by rail, which is more expensive than moving by pipeline. In short, the administration has been less friendly to oil production and transport than its predecessor, at a time when markets are undersupplied. How much that adds to the price you pay at the pump is impossible to say, but it's a factor. Another factor is the energy companies not rushing to drill. Even now, with prices soaring, energy companies are being cautious about ramping up their oil output. They are slowly putting new rigs to work drilling more wells, which helps. But they are also limiting how much they invest in new production so that they can reward their investors with bigger dividends and stock repurchases. That's good for stockholders, but it means less money going toward pumping more oil, which isn't great for consumers. Now the question is, will gas prices go down soon? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't look like gas prices are going to head much lower anytime soon. The situation in Ukraine shows no sign of ending. Global oil demand is straining available supply, and Wall Street wants publicly traded energy companies to grow their production slowly so that they can keep returning cash to shareholders. At this point, only an economic recession caused by the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes would be able to really lower gas prices. And that's probably not how anyone wants to save money at the pump. This is it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below.